Codington County, South Dakota, do solemnly swear. Support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota. That I will faithfully, impartially, and without discharge to all the
You are right there. Here, I need you to sign this. Oh, there.
Job, Terry. Congratulations.
I'm sorry, it's just kind of the way it goes when you're fair. If you can take them by.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I don't
I don't care.
deal with that. Have one.
Thick skin.
Uh-huh. I just got one. Oh, there's them.
Where is my? There it is.
I'm still represented from the board. Fine.
Your name isn't on there?
Planning board?
What's that?
Is it on there?
It's
No.
not.
Okay, I think it just is. And these are just the
Yeah.
other ones.
I was gonna
Yes,
say-
you are the liaison still.
How did I get off that board? So you know.
No, you're not on.
So easy.
Which one is that, Myron?
Planning board.
Planning board.
Yeah, it wasn't, I guess maybe it wasn't showing on there before. We should probably put it on there though.
No, I just received it, so.
Yeah, it was, no, I've been the one that's been editing it and then, but I thought it was some.
Did you notice at the top, I couldn't change that either. It says 2024. Can you change that to 25?
Oh, sure, yeah, I can do that. Let me make a note of that.
And I believe, Tyler's last name, there's no E in the,
Oh, there isn't, okay.
it's just NY.
All right, good
Okay.
morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get the meeting started. Codington County Board of Commissioners for this Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. And I'd ask Commissioner Johnson to lead us this morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson.
You're welcome.
Just a reminder to turn off your cell phones if you would, please silence them so they don't disrupt the meeting. Our rule is that if your phone rings, you buy donuts the next meeting, and we don't want to start off our resolutions already by having to eat donuts this early in January. So please silence your phones and we'll try and remind you to turn them back on at the end of the meeting. Call for public comment. Public comment may be submitted in person or via telephone by calling 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297. Item number 3, any conflict of interest items?
No.
Commission.
No,
Seeing none, we'll move on to number 4, action to approve the January 14th, 2025 agenda.
so moved.
Moved by Commissioner Schwer, second by Commissioner Gable.
Can I just add something? Since Todd is here, he would like to have you move this item up underneath his report, if you could.
Which
To
item?
approve the planning and zoning board, number 23,
Okay,
up after Todd's annual report. He requested.
all right, so we will make that change to the agenda. So 23 will come after item number 8. We will move that up. All right. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 5, action to approve the January 7th, 2025 minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Schwer. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, action to approve a request to sell alcohol at the Pro Pheasants event at the Codington County Extension Center complex.
Morning.
Good morning. Come on up, please. Yes, sir. I'll just have you push that button on the microphone there, sit down and introduce yourself and
I'm Nick Plotsky. I'm the president of the Codington County Pro Pheasants. We've done this banquet now for, I think, 23 years. So basically the same thing that we've done in years past, just requesting the permission to sell alcohol at the complex the night of February 21st this year. And then it'll be a liquor transfer from Second Street Station.
Second Street, okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Commissioner McElhaney. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Commissioner Schwer seconds that motion. Any discussion?
Good event. I've attended it several years in the past, and I can honestly say there's never been an issue with the whole alcohol thing, so.
Yep, I mean, we try to police it at the door, and then the Second Street girls are good about checking IDs as much as they can as well. So,
Good. We appreciate you being diligent out there.
Yeah.
It's a good event. So
Absolutely. Thank you.
appreciate that.
Yep.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 7, that is an action to approve contracts with First District Association of Local Governments for property parcel database and their GIS website services.
Or Todd.
Good morning, Todd.
Todd.
Good morning. This is, I believe, just a perfunctory task that you've been doing for many years. As you're all aware, the First District does a lot of geographic information system work for the county. The public website that is made available for for a fee for certain access to certain data, and other free data is out there. We've been running this for 15, 20 years, I'm guessing. And part of that includes the reason to update the databases on a, weekly, quarterly, monthly, annual basis. And so same contracts, same pricing as it was last year. Any questions you might have?
Motion to
So,
approve.
make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve by McElhaney, second by Commissioner Gable. Any further discussion? What is that contracted amount? Let's see it. Okay, those are 7 and 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that, being that you're a member of the planning district, it allows some savings. I know that the primary private contractor that does about a dozen counties in the state of South Dakota, just the web hosting alone is over $10,000 a year for that. And our maintenance costs is a flat fee, which covers everything. That company provides it on a piecemeal basis based on what it is that you're doing. And it's the costing, if you were to compare several of the other counties that do that, you can find out that we are below market rates, but that's just the power of belonging to the district.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Gable?
Yeah, just to be clear, we're approving these 2 contracts in one motion, correct? The GIS contract for 4,000 and the parcel update needs for 7,000.
Yeah, we'll take both of these on one motion.
Okay.
Yep.
Motion to approve.
We already have a motion. So who made the initial motion? Okay, so.
I'll
Okay,
make a
so
second. Yeah.
Okay,
Just confirming, just clarifying.
thank you. Any further discussion on those? Comments? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you, Todd. Let's move on to the next item, which is to move item number 20.
It was annual report first.
Oh, annual report. Okay. Okay, number 8, annual report from Todd Case.
Number
First
8.
District.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's that time of the year, again, where I like to come out and meet all of the county commissions that we have the privilege to work for on an annual basis. And I'm just going to be talking off this pretty green handout, which looks very similar to the handout that I did last year, but basically for the public's information as well. The First District Association of Local Governments is one of 6 regional planning and development districts located here in South Dakota. We have 6 planning districts. Our sister organizations are in Sioux Falls, Yankton, Rapid City, Pierre, and in Aberdeen. Next slide, if you want to do that, Lee. We're not government, but we're creatures of government. We were created in 1971 through executive order by Governor Frank Farrar, and we operate under what's called a joint powers agreement. So the 11 counties and 76 municipalities, they own the planning district. And by our bylaws and through the executive order, we need to have at least 6 of the 11 counties renew their membership every year. Otherwise, we sign up. And so we've been working in a wide variety of county and community economic development projects every year. Our mission is just to make this a better place to live, work, and play through community and economic development efforts. Next slide, please. We have a 35-member governing body that meets twice a year. This board approves our budget. They approve our work plan. They hire the director on an annual basis, and they provide general counsel to me on a wide variety of community and economic development issues. Currently, Myron Johnson, Dan Shetty from the city of Watertown, and Michelle Kakacek are the representatives on our board. You appoint your county commissioner rep, and you appoint the at-large member. And they all good attendance. They attend our 2 meetings a year, and good community leaders in our program. Next slide, please. People ask, how are we funded? Basically, every county and every municipality with more than 100 people pay a dues into our organization on an annual basis. And that dues represents about 20% of our operating revenues. We use those dues to leverage other state and federal grants. And we actually do some actual state contract work that represents about 20% of our operating revenues as well. We work with the Department of Transportation. We work with Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources, South Dakota Office of Emergency Management, and a few other contracts that we have with the state to do some of the servicing work that they have. Federal government, about 8%. We receive a couple grants every year from the federal government. Currently, it's about $130,000 a year. And then about a third of our operating revenues this year is in fee-for-service work. So the contract works that you just approved to do web hosting. And we do that fee-for-service work at rates that you generally less than what you'd find through the private sector. And that's just due to the power of the collective of what we're doing here. You'll see in this year's budget, we did have about a 20% cash reserve that we had to use because we just recently bought our building that we constructed 5 years ago. We were partnering with our sister organization, the First District Development Company, who is the private side of our office or part of our organization that lends money to private businesses. The First District Development Company recently partnered with a organization out of West River, and they've changed their name. And the employees that were working there are now working from home. And so they needed didn't need the building anymore. So we bought their share out of that building. So we now own it outright. So that's all the good things. Next slide, please. As far as our staffing, we currently have 9 full-time staff individuals with about 130 odd years worth of experience. You can see on the list, there's 3 of us old dogs that are getting kind of long in the tooth up there with Todd, Ryan, and Darren. We are looking at, a glide path for the 3 of us anyway. Probably the next 2 to 4 years, you'll be seeing new people, and that's some of the people that you see at the bottom of the list. We'll be looking to do some new hires in the next couple of years as well. But all good people doing good services and at different activities. Next slide, that kind of segues into that. Most of you are aware that we do a lot of application packaging. We write a lot of grant applications. We do loan applications for community and economic development project. We are currently, once those things are funded, we help with the project administration. And right now we're currently managing about $500 million worth of projects, construction projects that are going on through our 11 counties. Planning and research, it's basically what I cut my teeth on for the first 15 years of my career with the district. Planning, zoning, nuisance regulations, personnel policy, HR work, a lot of different things that we do there. Technical information, we do a GIS. We have 4 people in the office that work just solely in geographic information systems. And we use that in every facet of what we do in our business there. And then we're out there schlepping the state and federal programs. Bottom line, if there's something you want us to do, we'll try it once. And if we're not very good at it, we'll find somebody to do it for you at least amount of cost. Next slide, please. So just a little bit about some of the things that have been happening from a monetary standpoint in the district over the course of the last year. This year, our office has been involved working with our member governmental entities in community and economic development projects, which have looked at about an $84 million investment throughout the entire district. Of that 84 million, about 42 million have come strictly in grant dollars into the region, which if you take a look at what the district dues, about $320,000 a year, it's about $133 return on investment just based on dues. Since I've been the director towards the end of 2008, our return on investment from a district-wide perspective has been around $70.50, and we've generated about $303 million just in grant that have come into the planning district over the course of the last 15, 16 years. Next slide, please. When we take a look at some of the activities from a grant and loan perspective here in Codington County, this last year, about $166,000 in grants. That's about $2.74 return on the investment. When we take a look at what's been happening in grants in Codington County since I've been at the helm, about $34.5 million in grant dollars have come into Codington County, so about a $42 return on investment when you're looking at just what dues have been paid by the county and the municipalities over the last 15, 16 years. So again, I think a lot of the work that we do is important. The counties and our municipalities don't often have the need for a full-time grant writer or a full-time project administrator or a full-time zoning officer or those types of things. And so it makes sense to have staff available so that they can come in, provide a little time, a little support, a little service, and then we can walk away and it reduces the overall permanent long-term cost to the county. I'm going to talk just briefly on this white page that talks a little bit about some of the work activities that we do over the course of the last year. And if you can see here on Codington County, we assist in your 911 GIS database. We do your 911 addressing. We do the county address GIS and the road centerline data. We web host and maintain your GIS website. We maintain the county parcel data set on a separate contract that you have recently approved. I think at your last meeting, you hire since 2004. Our office has acted as the zoning officer for Codington County. And I think that's been a very good investment on the county compared to what some other counties pay for their planning and zoning services. And you get quite the consummate professional in Luke Muller in that regard. We are consistently sitting with county zoning ordinance development amendments. Last year, myself and other staff worked on your bridge and highway plan, getting that ready so that you can apply for highway and bridge grants. The following are just some of the activities that we're working currently in the communities. Henry's got a water and sewer project that we're helping out managing. We helped them receive some grant dollars last year, about 2.3 million. South Shore, same thing, about 1.1 million in grants and 23. And now those projects are moving forward. City of Watertown, there's a lot of projects going on at the municipal utilities and the city itself. Millions of dollars of ARPA grants and loans have been acquired. And we currently have another EDA grant that's looking at trying to put about a couple $1 million worth of infrastructure out at the Calvin Industrial Park, south of the Walmart, that we're hoping to hear on soon. So you can kind of see just, again, basically some of the information that I talked about at the macro level on the previous report. And we're also working with Florence, Henry, Cransburg, South Shore, and Watertown, always providing technical assistance when it comes to zoning ordinances and zoning policy and how you administer those things. And so, again, we've appreciated our relationship with Codington County and the municipalities in Codington County over the last 53 years. It's hard to believe I've been here like over 32 in May. Still plan on being around for a while. This is home. We want to make sure we take care of Codington County, and I think we have we've appreciated that relationship and your support. And we look forward to another prosperous year working with you. And any questions?
Right. Anybody have questions for Todd? All right.
All right.
Well, we appreciate your partnership too, Todd. First District is very important to Codington County, and we do, like I said, appreciate your partnership. It's not uncommon to pick up the phone and call Luke on a question that we have, or, you know, if someone has a complaint regarding zoning or anything, he's usually
There's no
pretty,
complaints when it
pretty,
comes.
pretty,
No
yeah,
complaints when it
pretty
comes to
responsive
zoning.
to any requests that we have. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, well, thank you. And like I say, with your membership, as far as the representatives on our governing body are all good members, and they help with the leading the success of this organization as well.
All right, great. All right, no further comments. Let's move down and let's move item number 23 up now so we can get Todd out of here. And this is the action to appoint the planning and zoning board members.
Yeah, I was walking out of the office and Luke says, "Where are you going?" And I said, "The Codington County Commission meeting." He goes, "Hey, would you want to take this up for me?" So it's not that he didn't want to see you, but we figured what the heck. And so he, as I was walking out the door, explained to me that Mark O'Neill and Mel Reese's appointments to the board expire. And now they're up for another 3-year appointment. And as many of you are aware, sometimes these are lifetime appointments. We don't tell them that when they get on that board. But I can tell you that both Mark and Mel have been on the board for several years. Mark, I think, is the vice chair or is vice chair, and they do an excellent job. They have a very good grasp of the zoning regulations, and they apply them fairly to all that come before them. And then the other one was, if we all remember, Alex Conkey stepped down last March to have her 8th child.
Mhm.
And so I think we've been kind of handling it through alternates for up until now. The Liam Culhane has agreed to serve on, and Liam Culhane also happens to sit on the Watertown
Yep.
Planning Commission and has sat on the Joint Jurisdiction Board between the county and the city over a few years. And again, he brings in a legal perspective, being an attorney to the board, which is always helpful on occasion. And also a very good understanding of how planning and zoning works. And so I think those are the 3 appointments that are before you today.
Motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner McElhaney. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Schwer. Any discussion on that? I know Commissioner Johnson, you sit on that as a representative for the commission. We appreciate your time there. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Gable?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Those members are appointed.
All right, thank you all.
Right, thank
Take
you.
care.
All right, let's move on to item number 9. This is an update by Lewis Canfield, Director of Youth Diversion, the Watertown Boys and Girls Club. He's going to give us an update on Juvenile Detention Alternative Initiative and the diversion programs.
Good morning.
And with you is
Morning.
Liz Brownell.
Liz
is with
Brownell.
me.
Good morning, Liz. I'll have you turn your mic on there, Liz, for me. There you go.
I have some handouts for you if you'd care. Right, well, yeah, good morning. Again, Lewis Canfield with the Youth Diversion Program here. Just want to give you a brief update as far as some of our successes here for this past year, but ultimately want to get to the reason we're here, which is the state JJRI diversion dollars that were passed to the county and our intentions for those dollars. So if you could go to the first slide there, Lee. Current caseload here for July of 2024 through the end of the year. We've had 108 successful diversion completions. Heavy caseload, which is why we brought in another full-time staff to help with that. So we're at 121 active cases on our caseload right now between the two of us. 16 of them have been unsuccessful. Unsuccessful diversion means When we meet with a family for a juvenile who offends, we come up with a plan. That plan could include a variety of things. It could be community service, it could be a mental health evaluation or a screening if they're using substances. But ultimately, we come up with a plan and they agree to it. If they can't follow that plan for whatever reason, or they refuse to follow the plan, they're referred back to court for either another opportunity for diversion or probation or consequences from the court. So 16 times so far we've had to refer those cases back. But the next slide there, you'll see our growth here, and I've shared this with you every time I visit. I think just to the growth just continues with the number, the caseload that we work with juvenile diversion, which is good. That's what we want. We want to have kids going through our program versus going through the court system, and I think we're more effective in getting accountability that way. But we're active with 245 cases through the first part of the year. So we're looking at being on par, maybe a little bit higher than we were the previous year, fiscal year 24. But what's interesting on the next slide is the types of cases that are being referred to youth diversion. A couple years ago, we started taking vape cases, and those are off the charts. It was about we've cut that in at least in half, the number of vape citations. So that's a good example of how successful the program works. Previously to taking vape tickets, kids would get a fine. They'd go to the courthouse, they'd pay their fine, and then they wouldn't get any education. So I think the big component here is we're getting them connected with community resources, getting them some education, and we're seeing those numbers drop dramatically. And then as you see, simple assaults is number one. That's been on the rise for the last year. So we meet as a JDAI collaborative quarterly. That includes law enforcement, our judge, our state's attorneys, our mental health professionals in the community, school district, and we strategize ways to combat that. So, for example, HSA has created a emotional regulation group for kids that are dealing with simple assault cases. So we're going to try to get those kids connected with that program and see if we can make a dent in those cases that are on the rise. So with all that said and done, we've had a very successful year as far as successful diversions, more successful than we've had. And on top of that, the state has approved an increase in diversion incentive dollars. It used to be $250 would go to the county for every successful diversion. That's increased to $750. So a significant amount of dollars in comparison to previous years was given to the county at the tune of $237,000. Last year and every year, really, the county has passed those dollars to the Boys and Girls Club, which we appreciate. It allows us to sustain ourselves, hire additional staff. This year, because it's so significant, we wanted to actually save the county some money by reducing. We want to ask for the $237,000 to be allocated back to the Boys and Girls Club. But with that, because the county funds our program in a separate line item, we want to take a reduction from that previous line item because we don't need all of it to sustain because it was such a high amount. So, Lee, did you want to jump in and help explain or jump in on anything or ask any questions that I could?
So I put the slide up that you're talking about, I think. So as Lewis said, we have the benefit of, and thanks to, the work of the Boys and Girls Club and Lewis and company, we have a lot of JGRI dollars. And so, you can see I think you guys have paper copies of this slide in front of you. Is that right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So you can see their request. On the one hand, that $83,200 that was coming out of the county's funds, and this would be a way to defray that, as well as help them with some other needs for the program. And so you can see looking additional staff and then a vehicle because for their needs to run around and do that. So maybe you could hit some of those as well, Lewis. Just this is kind of what you're looking at.
Yeah, I can. We don't anticipate these dollars to be this high in the upcoming years. There's going to be some tracking changes here across the state. So I estimate that that's going to be a lesser amount in future years. So we want to take advantage of it being a little bit higher this year and get some things that we'd like to for the sustainable future. Like Lee had mentioned, that the vehicle, we don't need to buy a vehicle every year, but I think this would be a great year to get it because we have the funds to do so. It also includes some community support services. You know, we can't do what we do without the support of HSA and the Project Success Program, the Fallout Shelter. So we anticipate providing some funding to those services as well. And then just updating our technology. We're running on some pretty old computers. We're doing more online programming for some of the kids that go through diversion. So we need a space and technology for them to do so. We feel it's important for them to do those programs within our facility so we can monitor that they're, you know, turning in their cell phones and not, you know, doing them with some help on their cell phone or whatever else, other resources they may find. And then, of course, just continuing training and meeting with our collaborative.
So, Mr. Chair. Yeah. Are we
Commissioner
on-
Gable.
Yeah,
Yes,
so agenda item 10 is to basically approve this.
Correct.
To this request, so.
correct. So right now we're still on number 9, which is the update by Louis Canfield. We're not on 10 yet. But do you have anything more to mention, Louis, on
The only additional thing is Allison Bakken, our state's attorney. She's very supportive of our program. She was unable to be here this morning, but she did provide a letter of support of the allocation of the funds.
Okay. All right, so thank you for the update. Let's move on to 10 and let's do just what Commissioner Gable said. Let's look for action to allocate the Juvenile Justice Reinvestment Initiative funds to the Watertown Boys and Girls Club. Looking for a motion.
Motion to
I'll
approve.
make the
Motion.
Oh,
Motion by McElhaney, second by Gable. Any further discussion?
Just one question on budget mechanics, Mr. Chair. Brenda, do we need to do anything with these funds that are just coming in, or are they already sitting in the revenue pot, so to speak?
Once you approve that, then we will allocate that over to the Boys and Girls Club like we've done previously. So it'll come out of that revenue and go into theirs.
Just move them around a little bit. Okay, any further questions? If not, look for a motion to, we have a motion and a second. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
I appreciate your
Very
time.
much.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes.
Thanks for the good news.
Yeah,
Appreciate
that's
that.
great news.
Yeah.
It's a
It's a
great,
Tuesday
great
today.
program.
As Myron would say, keep up the good work.
That youth diversion has really taken off and I think that's been a bright spot in our community. You know, when we first started looking at youth diversion in that program, we weren't really sure how that was going to work. And looking at these numbers, it's working. And so we just need to keep on track. So it's almost working too well. All right. Thank you. Moving on to number 11, that's monthly report, community health nurse. Come on up.
All right, Cody.
Good morning, commissioners.
Good morning, Cody.
Good morning. All right, so little updates. This is on Q4, so October through December of 2024. Our part-time nurse Kaya was moved up to full-time. So our office is now staffed with 3 full-time people. Kaya and I both state employed, and then Sarah is our public health secretary. With Kaya moving full-time, she's been able to take on and help support some other duties from Beadle County and fill in. They have a vacancy there. I'm traveling up to Sisseton twice a week. The public health nurse is on maternity leave until March, so I'm going up there as well. Overall, things have been pretty status quo. Immunizations have dropped just a little bit, which is pretty typical this time of year. We have a rush for school and flu season, and things kind of start to slow off at the beginning of the year. We still have flu vaccines. As of January 4th, there were 883 new cases of influenza. So we still have flu shots. Welcome to call our office to get an appointment scheduled. We also worked with the sheriff's office to offer hepatitis B for their employees that are needing that, and have started most of their employees on their series as well. Our overall pregnancy caseload sits at about, I think when I just checked the other day, it was about 51 with all of our moms and babies on. So that continues to be pretty consistent of what we normally have on. We continue to follow all those moms all the way through until babies are 12 weeks. old afterwards, and then all the way through their pregnancies as well. School services for the most part are completed. We did end up going back to Henry and providing additional services that they were wanting beyond what they were originally contracted for. But we got those done. I'm going to Florence and starting at Waverly today for their teen outreach program curriculum. It's 14 weeks long, so Waverly will start today and Florence is, I think today's lesson 8. So just a little over halfway with that as well. Otherwise, things are pretty status quo.
Busy,
Busy, yes. Things are going good, but busy, yes.
good,
Questions?
thank you.
Yeah, you're
I just
welcome.
have- I have one.
Yeah,
You said
yeah.
that, Henry requested something above and beyond the norm?
Yeah. So normally we do vision and hearing services at Henry. And they actually reached out and wanted us to come back and do puberty and hygiene teaching. So it was within their hours that they had already were contracted for. So we went back and did hygiene for 4th grade, puberty for 5th and 6th, and hygiene for 6th, 7th, and 8th. So it was an additional need that teachers and their counselor had seen with some of their students. So yeah, we went back and completed
Great.
that as well. So
Good.
yeah, awesome.
Right. Cody,
Yeah.
what's your last name?
New last name Storm.
Storm. Okay.
Yes.
Storm is right.
Yeah.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, let's move down to the auditor's report and Brenda.
All right, good morning, everyone. So my office is busy now working on end of the year for 2024 and beginning 2025. The tax notices for taxes payable in 2025 have been processed and they're in the mail. So you'll be receiving those and just normal activities that are happening from day to day. So that is what we're doing. We're beginning the end of the year report as well.
All right, also a busy time in your office. Thank you. Director of Equalization report, Shauna, there you are.
Good morning.
Good morning, Shauna.
It's so weird when you guys move.
Yeah, we didn't know that was gonna happen until this morning, so. Yeah, that's all
Even
right.
I knew you were gonna have to move when you were named,
Yeah.
like, they gotta sit by the auditor.
Yeah.
Okay. So currently, the Department of Revenue is working on our 2024 sales audit. He came down, our field person came down and sat in our office going through all the sales, and then they have to double check everything in their office. We should hear, hopefully, soon. You guys get a letter as well as I do about that sales audit. And then he is also looking at the 2025 assessment intentions that were due the 1st of January. And that's basically just kind of what all the 2025 assessments are going to be doing in each neighborhood. We are completed with all of our field work for the reappraisal and all the building permits, which we get done a little early this year, which is really nice. So basically we're all inside and we are currently working on getting all the new values for the building permits, the reappraisals getting entered into the system. And then also working on like flooded farmland, discretionary, all that stuff, getting all the new values and stuff into the system to get ready to start printing. We'll probably print next month and get everything sent out by the 1st of March. So as well as now the tax bills are out, so we'll be fielding a bunch of phone calls on that. So
Thank you. Looking forward to getting mine.
oh, you
Yeah.
are? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Never heard that before, but thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm kind of thankful the lights are on too.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions for Shauna?
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Shauna.
Thanks, Sean.
I'm going to take just a moment. Cody, did you have something else on the agenda here before? Okay. I just wanted to make sure we could get you out of here if we needed to. All right. Let's move on to letter D, Community Services Director. Good morning,
Hi, Sarah.
Good morning.
Sarah Faust. Good morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. All right. You guys have the data with the monthly report in your packet. Just an update from, the numbers from December and, yeah, things stay pretty consistent for a holiday month. It was fairly busy given the times that we were gone. No big surprises or anything. You can see the year-to-date costs. That should be pretty accurate,
for what we ended up spending for the fiscal year 2024. It's a little bit off because of December, the way December and January costs fall,
Mr.
but.
Chair, I have a question.
Commissioner Johnson?
Sarah, and I was reviewing this
Mhm.
and it's just amazing, going from 2022, 23 to 24. The increases are just tremendous. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know if the rest of you noted that, you know, like we went from 173 to 247 services. And that was the unique individuals served that month. We go on down, all the way down for each of the three categories that we have here. Now, what's causing that? Is that
Well,
we have more help and more services available, I mean, that's a huge jump.
it is, so it's a little bit deceptive because our charting system that we started. So some of it is a little bit skewed because we started the system in 2022. And so we built it up and we started. So there's a little bit that would be reflected in that. It's also our community health worker program. And so we're providing more intensive services and we're really targeting, trying to connect people with the services that they need. We're also meeting that goal of having a location in our community that people can go if they don't know where else to go. And so that's been part of my mission since we got there, since I started, was making sure that people know where they can get services. And so it's a little bit of the system itself didn't really probably accurately reflect in 2022 the full numbers. We're using the system to its highest capacity now, so the staff is really doing a great job of charting. And then the reality that we're also providing more intensive services. Our office is busy.
Mhm.
We have a lot of people
So
coming and
instead
going.
of raising the red flag, I
Mm.
should be raising the white flag.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, this is a good thing.
Well, that's exactly what I wanted to find out,
Yeah.
because these are tremendous
Mm.
increases.
Mhm,
And it's just because we're providing more services,
mhm.
which is good.
Yes.
Yeah, and Commissioner Johnson and Sarah, just, the total client contacts by year went from 220, 200 in 2022 to just over 1,000 this year.
That's a
And
big
so that means that we're really reaching out to those folks that we haven't had that opportunity to do that for as well. So
Yeah.
good work on that.
Yeah, thanks. My staff has been doing a phenomenal job of
Yeah.
really making sure they're following up and that we're getting people the help that they need to. Really, our goal is to change lives. And so that's where it all comes in, is what can we do to change lives? So community health workers have made a huge difference in that. And then we continue to do our normal office pieces, the funeral assistance, all of those kinds of pieces too with that. So any other questions or comments on any of the data or the numbers? You can kind of see the services that we're doing and where we're referring people to as well.
Any questions?
Okay, I'll jump into the other report. So for the CARES or ERA, the South Dakota Housing Funding that we have, Carrie's still administering that. We received $3,500 in December for her administration of that program through the state. Our Impact or Community Health Worker Program billed for $2,058 in December. My goal with the community health workers and Medicaid billing is that we cover the cost of our staff, so that it's not costing the staff anymore to have that staff, but that we're really meeting the needs. So that's what we've been working really hard to have that program cover itself and its costs. And we'll talk a little bit more about that too.
Can I add to that, Sarah?
Yes.
So the thing is, Sarah has to budget for that, so we can't do a budget supplement back in, but it comes in as a revenue on the county side, so.
Yeah.
She receives the money back, we get it as a revenue, but we can't supplement her budget for that because it's a budgeted item, so.
Yeah.
Clarification.
Yeah, thank you, because it's not really reflected, but it is part of our goal. Yeah. Yeah. Our Reaching Rural team, which is our justice impacted people with substance use disorder. We held a stakeholder meeting in December, and we had a really great attendance for that, to really dig deep into some of what our priority areas are so that we can finalize the budget for that $1 million grant that we did receive. So that's what we're working on right now. Brenda and I also have some work we have to do to be able to accept the grant. And so there's a lot of behind the scenes things happening with that grant right now. Hopefully we'll be able to move forward with that in the next month or two.
with that piece. Our Reaching Rural team goes to DC February 4th through the 7th. That cost is all covered through the grant that we received, and so we'll be in DC for that period of time. We're also, and this is an agenda item, but we're partnering with the Community Health Workers South Dakota initiative to support community health workers. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's another great opportunity to meet needs in our community. I go to Pierre on Thursday for Children's Day at the Capitol. They had asked Watertown to present on what we've done. So we're kind of the speakers for that, which is fun. So it'll be myself, Sister Barb from the monastery, and then Randy Tupper from the city will be presenting for that little speech. So that, yeah, it's a great kudos to Watertown for how hard we've been working together to make changes. And
Sarah,
go
just quick question on that. Where are you presenting at the Capitol?
in the rotunda of the Capitol.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, right there. We'll present around noon on
Okay.
Thursday for that Children's Day event. So yeah. And then given all of the things that have been happening and the grants that are coming in, I've really been working to evaluate our office needs. We still have the Beyond Idea grant that was extended through June 30th. So I'm fortunate to be able to have some time to determine what the needs are before I have to add the positions. You know, Morgan went back full-time into the auditor's office, which affects our office, but fortunately we have an intern that started this week, and I brought her with me. Jane Finstead is an intern at our office. She'll be there 32 hours through April. And so that helps fill some gaps in our office gives me a little bit of time to determine what our full needs are.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot if I ask you to introduce her and her.
Yeah, come on up. Come on up. Come on up. Cool.
Introduce yourself. Now you need to talk up so we can hear you.
Final semester at Southwest Minnesota State University.
Okay.
And I'm getting my bachelor's degree in social work.
Great. Good. Well, thanks for being
Good to
here.
have you here.
Helping out.
Yeah,
thanks.
Yep. She had done a short job shadowing with us previously when she was a Lake Area student. And so we're happy to have her back. We know she does great work. So
Yeah, great.
to have with us again. The interagency meeting was last week. That one was on Zoom, and we talked about the housing report that we had received through Maximizing Excellence, along with Watertown Development Company, and some of the needs for that. Our agency of the month this month is Boys and Girls Club. I should have recognized them when they were there. Boys and Girls Club, and then the individual of the month is Megan Fishback, who is the social worker at the Boys and Girls Club. For housing, we had our meeting yesterday with our community group. It's a really great group. Todd Kays is part of that group along with Brandy Hatton. We have a really diverse, good group of people looking at what we can do to address community or housing needs and how we're going to move forward with that. So we had some good discussion yesterday. Really going to focus on getting the right data to make sure that we're moving forward in the right way. Childcare, we are still trying to develop a contract to work with Klein Visioneering Group so that we can address the more complicated issues on how we make childcare affordable. So developing a plan for businesses to support childcare. We want to have 4 to 5 partners in that so that it's a community initiative. So Chris Clifton with Watertown Development Company is coordinating that piece of it as well. With me, we meet tomorrow for childcare, for our childcare group. Our centralized location, I had reported last month, we have identified a property. We're still working on a business plan, feasibility and funding for that. Cody's been a great supporter of that, so I appreciate their initiative and effort with all of that and just the partners that we have for that effort as well. The goal with that is that we can make it easier for people to get the services that they need, the one-stop shop in our community for that. And then January 28th, we are holding 2 ACEs trainings. That's the First Childhood Experiences trainings, and then having a Codington Connects, the first annual meeting for the Codington Connects members. So everybody that's a member of Codington Connects is invited to that luncheon that day. We have Tiffany Petro, who is from Rapid City. She's an excellent speaker, is coming to do an intro to ACEs presentation in the morning. That will be from 9 to 11. And then after the luncheon in the afternoon from 2 to 4 will be we're calling it ACES 2.0. It's a deeper dive into ACES and how we apply it in our community. So that should be a great day and great event, and everyone is welcome to those trainings. We would love to have more of our community trained in ACES and how trauma affects us with that too. And then finally, just once again, make sure to check out CoddingtonConnects.com for more events and information about what's going on in the community. That is our online resource for community services in what we have. So.
Sounds good. Anybody have anything to ask? Discussion?
Busy.
Yeah, busy.
Good stuff.
Thursday at the Capitol at noon.
Yes.
I'll be in Pierce, so
Oh, will
I'll
you?
probably show up there
Yes.
and listen to it.
Great. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to item number 12. And this is the action to approve 2025 indigent burial rates. Brenda? Is that you?
Sorry.
Sarah?
I mean, yeah, it's just our annual, we have to look at those rates every year and reapprove them. I am not recommending a rate increase. We continue to be some of the highest in the state for funeral. I know it does not cover the cost of a funeral. I understand that. But it's a decent rate for where we are in the state.
Can you share with the
Just-
group what those contracts are?
It's right around,
And
you
put
put
you
me
on
on the
the
spot. It's right, it ends up being, oh gosh, I don't want to say. I should have brought my,
I thought I had it on the back of my mind.
I know.
I know that
Seven
we've looked at those rates for the last several years and had
It's-
that discussion, and Codington always falls in as one of the highest in the state as far as,
top five, and it's right around 4,000,
Yeah.
but I don't want to give the specific numbers. There's a different rate for cremation versus burial. We had a conversation about changing those rates to be the same, but we're just gonna keep them. There's one rate for burial and one rate for cremation, and they're right around 4,000 by the time you add in the burial cost of that.
I think they're more than that.
No, that's what, I mean, the funeral, it costs the funeral home more than that, so the funeral home does lose money, but
so
if Harriet was here, she would.
we'll take a motion in a second on that as soon as we get those rates determined what those are, so we can make that a part of our motion. But just for the record, the budget for funeral assistance is $45,000 a year. And we've spent 17,678, so we're well below the budgeted item for funeral assistance in 2024. So that's good.
So the traditional burial amount is $3,952. And the cremation amount is $2,575. And for opening and closing of graves, it is $565.
This year, we ended up being a lot lower with funeral costs. In 2023, we were around 40,000 that we
Wow.
spent. So,
COVID.
yeah,
Oh,
we did.
COVID, sure.
I'm looking at approve.
Motion by Johnson, second by McElhaney. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Those rates will stay the same in 2025. Moving on to item number 13, action to approve consultant agreement between Codington County Community Services and Amanda Shea.
So these next two contracts are both using funds through the Beyond Idea grant. And so again, the Beyond Idea grant was extended through June 30th, and these contracts are basically the same as what we had until December 31st. I'm just extending them. This one is for Mandy, right? And so that is to help with marketing Codington Connects. And so she just helps coordinate and make sure that articles are getting out and that radio ads are being done. And the agency of the month, she really has managed the Facebook page of that.
Social media.
Yeah.
Move to approve.
Motion by Johnson,
Second.
second by McElhaney. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14, this is action to approve the assistant agreement between Codington County Community Services and Kathy DeYoung.
Again, this is using the Beyond Idea grant funds, and this is for Kathy to assist me in the work that I'm doing.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by McElhaney. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 15, discussion and possible action to approve partnering with CHW South Dakota for an HRSA grant to support CHW's something.
Lots of
Something.
initiatives.
That's a lot of acronyms.
So CHW is the Community Health Workers. Community Health Workers of South Dakota was formerly under the Department of Health, but they that was through ARPA funding. Since the ARPA funding ended, they now are creating their own nonprofit, and so part of their sustainability is to apply for some grants. I'm on the board for CHW South Dakota, and they are wanting to apply for this grant. And part of the grant is they have identified a community in South Dakota that would kind of be a model community for how we collaborate with our community health workers. It's really an initiative to bring community health workers together and see how we can work together so that they can replicate that across the state. They need to have 3 partners for that. And so I'm requesting that the county be a partner. Prairie Lakes Hospital has agreed to be a partner.
Right.
And then we're actually Brothers and Sisters Behind Bars, who is using our community health workers, has also agreed to be a partner. But we're actually having a conversation with the fire department this week because they will be starting a community health worker program, as well as Watertown Cares, and just really seeing how many people we can get to come to the table to partner in this initiative.
Right.
So
To approve.
Motion by Johnson to approve.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Schwer. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair, just a question.
Commissioner Gable?
Yeah, so what is, when you talk about partnering, what exactly is that?
yeah,
in
that's
this
a great. So Ben and Julie with the Community Health Workers South Dakota will be doing a majority of the work. Our role at the county will really just being that we support the Community Health Worker Initiative, that we attend meetings, and I specifically will just be working to kind of coordinate some of those pieces in town, which aligns with the other work that I'm doing. There won't be any financial pieces. Well, there is some potential that the county would be reimbursed for some of my time and potentially another community health worker if we look at expanding that. So there could be some funds coming back to the county as part of this grant as well.
And Mr. Chair, just what does HRSA stand for?
That is an acronym for the federal,
Ursa.
Stands for HRSA. Okay. got it.
yeah, it does. Oh, I thought it was in here.
Don't worry. It's a federal acronym. I get it. That nobody knows those. so.
It's a
Human
federal,
Resource and Service Administration.
that's it. Thank you,
Very good.
Brenda. Human Resources.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Sarah.
All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right,
HR's always got to have their fingers into everything, don't they?
right. Even if it is an acronym, yeah. All right, let's move on to number 16, action to set compensation for the coroner. And we'll get our county coroner, Terry Sorensen, up here. Good morning, Terry. Good.
Good.
I did not get these two guys in advance, I'm sorry. This is our year end for last year. I'll start with that and show you where we were. Sorry, Lee. Thanks, Terry.
Go ahead and have a seat, Terry, and give us
All
this
right.
your annual report.
This is going to be our annual report for 2024. The Codington County Coroner's Office investigates and determines a person's cause and manner of death. That is our office. Particularly in cases which the individual died under unusual circumstances, the office consoles families, advocates for the deceased, and gives information to the police and courts to prosecute suspected criminals. That's pretty much what we do. In doing that, the Codington County Coroner's Office completes about 75 death investigations a year using nationally recognized standards. The investigation types are explained below. We do autopsies, which are performed in Sioux Falls by Dr. Snell and his staff. The external body, the external is done by us usually here in Watertown. The body's taken in custody and we do the examination. If at that time we find something that is uncomfortable or suspicious, then we move onward to the forensics. and we moved down to Sioux Falls with it. We consult the offices notified of deaths, but the case can be declined due to not fitting our standards. So what we mean by that is like sometimes the hospital will call us and say, hey, we have a death and this death happened because of this. We'll look at that and we'll determine if it falls under our standards or not. Same way with nursing homes. Sometimes they'll call us and say, hey, this person did this happened, they died, and we determine whether or not it's a coroner's case or not. So we do refuse probably about 5 a year. That just doesn't fit under our standards. The manner of death can be natural accident, suicide, homicide, or undetermined. That's how we list them here in the state. The death scene investigation by the coroner and deputy coroners. During the death scene investigation, the coroner gathers the information. We take photographs, arranges for the removal of the body. Then we get to the funeral home with the body of the decedent's family's choices, and that's where the death certificate process begins, and then it ends with us. Post-mortem examinations. As coroners, we do the post-mortem physical exam. The forensics pathology also does an autopsy if we need to. So like I said, if we feel something is not normal, then we go down to Dr. Snell and his team. And then all our reports and stuff come to them. Cases investigated by our office are sudden death of a healthy child, death occurring within 24 hours of admission at a hospital or a healthcare facility, physicians unable to state a cause of death after careful review of medical chart or the deceased does not have a physician, known or suspected homicide, known or suspected suicide related to or following the known suspected self-induced or criminal abortion, following an accident or injury primary or contributory, either old or recent. So that can go back as long as I've had one at 50 years already. They were injured 50 years ago at a work scene. That injury made them their entire adult life disabled. And then their death is an exact result of that. So we have to go back and trace that. Drowning, fire, exposure, acute alcoholism, drug addiction, strangulation, aspiration, malnutrition, accidental poisoning, could be food, chemical, drug, therapeutic agents, whatever it is, occupational disease or occupational hazards, known or suspected contagious diseases, consulting a public hazard excluding AIDS. AIDS is no longer a public hazard. All deaths where patients are under anesthetics, incarcerations, and all deaths of unidentified persons. All right, for the year 2024, our office was contacted to investigate 69 deaths. Of the 69 cases, 50 of those deaths were male and 19 were female. Of the 69 cases, 63 were white in race, 3 were Hispanic in race, and 3 were Native American race. Of the 69 cases, 52 were determined to be ruled as natural. Of the 69 cases, 3 were determined to be suicide. 2 of the suicides were from firearms, and 1 was by thermal injuries by fire. Of the 69 cases, 12 were determined to be accident. 4 of those were from motor vehicle accidents. 1 was from choking from food, and 1 was from bed sharing. And 6 were from injuries sustained from a fall at a later date and died.
Terry, if I may,
Yes.
what is bed sharing?
That is when somebody has an infant or a toddler in bed with them. Not in the room, but in bed with them. That is
Roll
bed
over.
sharing. Yeah.
Right.
And it's usually a suffocation. Of the 69 cases, 1 was determined to be homicide, and of the 69 cases, 1 was undetermined. We were not able to determine any cause or manner of death. For the year 2024, the youngest decedent we were called to was 1 month old, and the oldest was 99 years old. So you can see it's a vast. We ordered 9 autopsies for 2024. We paid for 7 of them. 2 came from Roberts County, and I was able to rebill them. So, because it was their case. We did 37 removals from the scene, and we used the county cooler 29 times.
Good.
So you can see it's working. the van and the cooler has been a major part of what we do.
Yeah,
So we appreciate that.
great. Thank you for that report, Terry. Any questions on the report? Not, let's move on to compensation for the coroner. I'm not sure where we're at with that, Terry.
Right now, with the 69 cases that I did, I get $300 per case. And that came out to be about $20,700. That $300 per case includes everything I have to do, including going separately to an entire day of autopsies. And all the paperwork and everything that I do. So it includes absolutely everything that happens with that decedent. So, yeah, it's, from my standpoint, the 2,700 is fair, but it's not fair enough. I think when I go back and look at the benefits of a county employee, which I am a county employee, but for some reason we fall under division where we're not included in anything. So, and by that, I mean, we don't get any insurance. We get no holiday pay. We get no time off pay. The $300 I get per call is what we get. So that has to be for everything we do. I looked at your insurance where you pay individual insurance. You guys pay about $11,000 per person in the county for individual insurance. Family, you pay about $20,000 per family per year. I'm not asking for insurance. What I'm asking you to do is just up my pay. I would like to go from $300 to $400, which is $100 more per call. That's still less than what you guys would pay insurance. So.
Mr. Chair. Question?
Commissioner Gable.
Yeah, so if we look at the coroner's budget for 2024, what was the total? I mean, how do we sit with that?
What are you looking for, Commissioner Gable?
Yeah, just so what was the budget and how much did we spend of that budget, basically, especially the part of the coroner's budget that's meant to cover these calls?
I don't have what the expenditure was. Bottom line, he stayed within budget. It was 26,000, I believe, was budgeted last year. He did budget 27,000 this year for wage and salary.
So if we were to bump it up to $400 per call, if you take the average of 69 calls, that would result in $27,600 is what we would look at for doing that.
Which I see, which is what he requested for 2025
Yes.
on the budget.
And that's been approved in the budget. Okay.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion by McElhaney. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Schwer. Now we can open it up for discussion. Anybody have any comments or questions for the coroner?
Mr. Chairman, you said that it was a little over 27. So if that same number of calls was $400, it would be, what did you say?
27,600 if you take the same number of calls that he got in 2024, which was 69.
Right, okay.
So Terry, would you say that that's average?
Yeah, we're probably, yeah, it's right about average. We're down a little bit, but that's because I probably declined some cases.
Okay.
So that's why.
Okay.
But 69 to 70 is really pretty much average
Okay.
for this area.
All right. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right. All in favor of changing that to $400 per call? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Terry,
Thank you guys.
for all your
Thank
work.
you.
It's not an easy job.
Thanks for the information. I've
Sure.
never seen that broken down like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Appreciate
nice.
that.
And we'll do that every year.
Thank
You
you.
guys are informed.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to item number 17. This is action to approve the auditor's account with the treasurer and note monthly register of deeds fees.
All right, so you have those in your packet, the end of the day of December, you have what the settlement was with the treasurer.
And also then on the account with the treasurer, the total cash assets on hand. And then down at the bottom, our special revenue custodial funds that go to the school, township, cities and towns. And the ending amount, 28,659,447.06. And then the register of deeds fees is $36,876.75 that was collected during the month of December.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by McElhaney. Second by
Second.
Gable. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 18 is action to approve a bridge inspection resolution number 2025-2.
Morning.
Good morning, Randy Falvey with the superintendent of our county highway shop.
This is an annual item, just requesting the fact that we hire an engineer to do our bridge inspections, which is also an annual item. We would like to continue to use Banner Associates as we have a good standing relationship with them and they've done our bridge inspections in the past.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to
Second.
approve by Commissioner Gable, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 19, discussion possible action to authorize funding for the 2024 RAFE Rural Access Infrastructure Funds application and grants. Should have a sheet that was handed out prior to the meeting this morning.
I apologize, Lee, you don't have this on your hand.
Okay, Randy, go ahead and give us a rundown on that.
This is just in alphabetical order, no order of importance other than once we get down to Henry. We've had 5 officially put in for this year. 1 was already done last year, completed. And it's my understanding that we cannot give the money, but that is up to you. They wanted me to submit it for Kransberg for your consideration. If you would approve an item that's already been paid for one of their bridges or culverts in this case, excuse me.
Okay.
Otherwise, starting with Graceland, they put in 1 project. They're requesting $62,857.26. They do have the opt-out, the resolution and a cost breakdown.
Okay.
You want to consider these as a whole, or you just want to do them individually, I guess is my question.
Probably
Individually.
Individually?
Yeah.
Okay,
I believe you should,
all right. So,
but I don't know if you want to go through all of them first and then come back and decide which ones you want to approve.
I think that's the way we should do, because I
yeah,
don't even know what we got in the pot.
yeah,
I don't know what's there.
okay. All right, so let's go through all of them quick here. And then
We'll wait for Brenda to give us a total of what we have for availability.
Okay, so the amount that we have left, let's see if I have that on here. I'm gonna have to re-add this. So we have received 792,375.86, and we have used 146.43.33. Let me do that quick. Did it wrong way. One moment here. $651,732.53.
That's 651,
651,
132.
732, 53.
732.
Yep.
Thank you.
53. Okay,
53, yep.
now you can go through those.
Alrighty.
Superintendent.
I apologize for not having that at a time. The second one on there is Henry, and at the time that they proposed these, I wasn't sure what was available. So we had them break it down to 4 separate projects over the next 4 years, but looking at the funding that is available, it would be potentially possible to do all four of these this year. Again, in order of importance from top to bottom, the first one they have listed is 39,976.40 is the amount they're requesting. The second project would be 32,504.96. A third project would be $20,016.76. And a fourth project would be 14,346.15. The total for those four projects all told is $106,844.27 that they're requesting. Any questions? Okay. Pelican, they had two projects. One was actually submitted last year and was given approval to, but they have not had time to put it into action. So that is why it's outlined in red. They're at $69,000 even. So that money would be coming out of this year's budget.
Right. That was not included in the amount that I gave you, even though it was approved last year. So you want to take that off from that 651 because it was approved.
Which amount was that?
This,
69,000.
69?
What is that? So that would come out of the 651,000. What does that leave us
that
with?
would be, it'd be 80% of that. Hold on.
Okay. Well, I think we're okay for now. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you're, yeah.
582.
Okay, the other project for Pelican for this year's consideration would be 56,000. Grand total with those two projects together would be 125,000. Next up is Kransberg, which we discussed previously. This is an item they've already completed, but they wanted me to put it in for consideration if you would take it under the consideration to pay it after the fact. We informed them that at the time that it potentially would not go through, but again, for your consideration. Next is Rawville. They have one item put in. Their total would be 80,000. And lastly, we have Waverly Township. They have two projects for consideration. First one is at 45,600. The second project is at 32,000 for a grand total of 77,600. All told, with the exception of the project that was approved for last year for Pelican, I come up with a total of $452,301.53 which would be within our budget. If you want to consider doing them all.
Okay, where is the 19,996? You got plus 19,996.
If you were to add that, that would come up to a grand total of $472,297.53.
That 1996 was the one for
Kransberg.
Kransberg.
Correct.
That's already been done.
Correct.
Is that, Randy, is that an overage that they didn't anticipate what the costs were? I mean, it just.
My understanding was that was the whole project.
That's the whole project. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
The percentage that they're requesting.
Okay. And
So
what was that amount again? 19,000 and what?
19,996.
Okay, thank you.
I hate
Commissioner
to lead
McElwain.
the new guy question here, but why was that not? If it was approved and done last year, why wasn't that paid?
That question, unfortunately, I can't answer.
For Kransberg Township, they did not apply last year for any funding. Or they weren't approved. I don't remember what the process was exactly, if they did put in for it, but you have to have an opt-out or a road levy in place in order to even be eligible for this funding. So if you don't have those things in place, even if you do your 5-year plan or your application, you still are not eligible until you get an opt-out or a road levy in place. So that's part of the statute.
Mr. Chairman, my thoughts are, that's what this fund is for. Is to help the townships and we've been encouraged to do that. That being said, I propose that we just do all of them.
Okay, so we talked that we're gonna do one at a time. Do we wanna? Brenda, would make it easier to do one at a time or do them all in one motion?
Let's do them all separately.
Okay.
so that I can put out-
Okay, Commissioner Gable, do you have something to add?
No, just on the Kransberg one, one question. So do all of these, not talking about the Kransberg one right now, do all of these meet all the other criteria about, the opt-outs and the other thing, Randy?
They all have opt-outs or tax levies in place. The only thing would be submission of minutes and stuff like that, which it's my understanding last year was taken under consideration that they would have to have that in before the money was paid out at that point.
All right. And then these are the full amounts so the county would be, are these the full amounts or the 80% amounts that they're
These are
asking
the
for?
80% amounts.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and sorry.
Mr. Chair, I think we have a couple of individuals from the Kransberg area that might be able to enlighten us a little bit on this.
Okay, we'll get to them here in just a minute, but first let's take Graceland Township first. So do I have a motion to approve that request?
So move.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Schwer. I have a
Second.
second by Commissioner Johnson.
Can I add something?
Yep.
Okay, so the thing is they do not have any minutes, okay? They have to do this at their annual meeting and it has to be reflected in their minutes that they've made a motion and second and voted on it. Now you can go ahead and approve these pending that they can give you that proof that they have it, or I need that as part of this and they need to provide those minutes. Or else they'll have to do a resolution, which
Okay.
they can do.
Okay,
So,
so do we want to amend the motion to include that they have to submit the minutes to the auditor?
Yes, that's.
And I'll,
Okay, all right, so
pending,
for
minutes.
example, I do know
let's go.
when we get down to the Rowville one, I was at the meeting, at the annual meeting last year. And I know minutes were taken,
Mhm.
and I know we went through this step by step by step. Now, I don't know why
You just
I'm
need
not
to
sure.
provide
They
them.
just haven't
I
provided.
know it's been done.
Correct.
Okay.
It probably has. We just
Yeah.
don't have that in our.
All right, so you want to state your amended motion then?
That we will disperse the money as long as they provide proof of their minutes.
Okay, and that's for Graceland Township.
Yep.
Randy?
Question for Brenda. You
Mhm.
said it's one or the other, the resolution or the minutes, or you need both? Just to clarify.
You need one or the other. So if they don't have the
Grace-
minutes, they still can do a resolution, I believe is what we allowed last year for them to
Graceland
be
does
able
have
to
a
do it.
resolution.
Okay,
in place.
then they're fine. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Then they're fine. So we can get rid of
And I
that. other.
apologize. 'cause
So-
it was a learning experience
Yeah,
for
yeah.
myself
So it
also.
looks like Graceland has a resolution, Henry has a resolution, Pelican has a resolution, and then the following three do not.
Okay.
Okay, so, all right, so Graceland does have a resolution,
Okay, so
and
we
that's
can-
what is needed, and instead of the minutes.
We don't need to amend that then, so.
Okay, so
We'll just go back to the original.
back to the original
Back to
motion.
the original.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on Graceland?
Who's on second?
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries for Graceland, $62,857.26. All right, let's move on to Henry Township. They do have a resolution, no minutes, but they do have the resolution as we just discussed. And I'm looking for a motion for Henry.
Move
So
to
moved.
approve.
Motion by Johnson, second by Gable. Any further discussion?
All four projects.
All four
Yes.
projects, okay. Any further discussion on that one? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries, and that amount totals $106,844.27. Moving down to Pelican Township. Looking for a motion to approve that. They do have a resolution and minutes.
So move.
Motion by McElhaney, second by Commissioner Gable. Any further discussion?
Just to clarify, so this is just pertaining to the $56,000 one, correct? Because the $69,000
Yes,
one. was already
that's
approved.
correct. 69,000 from last year, yeah, 56,000, yeah. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, let's move down to Kransburg Township now and address that. They do not have a resolution in place and no minutes. So we do have a problem with that one, and that's a previous. And a tax levy
Not in place.
is not in place.
Mr. Chair, just, it sounds to me like that the state criteria still requires that, the levy or the opt-out, so I think that we're kind of stuck.
So that would not qualify. Okay,
Unless I'm misunderstanding the state requirements, so.
we'll defer that to our auditor, Brenda. There's no tax levy in place on that for
No,
Kransburg.
no, there was not a tax levy or an opt-out.
Okay.
On my growth report. You guys have not implemented. I shouldn't do that.
I'm sorry, are you from Kransburg? Would you like to come up and tell us what's going on over there?
Or what's not going on.
It's not going on, yeah. Randy, you wanna,
Step aside.
yeah,
I'm just-
yeah.
I can stand up, right?
Okay, that's fine. All right, please identify yourself so we know who you are.
Vince Fleischner with Cranesburg Township.
Okay,
Brian's our Cranesburg Township.
okay, all right, guys, what's the story with your request here?
I brought in the paperwork and gave it to Rick. And it actually came up here. Him and Brenda went through it, looked at it and said I had to go back and redo some stuff. Which I went back and talked to Chuck, the treasurer. Got the stuff and I took it back out to the county shop and gave him, handed it in, and he said, all right, everything's in there. I said, yeah, everything's there. And so if there's any questions, call back, and we never got a call back. But I was told by Rick that everything was there.
Okay.
And we did our levy.
Correct.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, Ben?
We did our.
You got
You did
that
up
in
it?
your
Cause I didn't,
minutes?
That's in the minutes, yeah.
okay,
Claire's got the minutes, yeah.
yeah, I don't have the minutes in here. And I didn't get the paperwork for the levy. Oh, I'd have to look in my other folder.
Who did you say have the minutes? Who has the
He's
minutes?
my wife, Kara, so
Is it possible for her to email those to you so that,
probably not right now.
Okay. okay, okay, okay.
Is there any other place that you know of out at the shop where they could be? The papers that are seem to be missing?
Randy?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're asking me. No.
Oh.
As far as I have everything right here that was brought to my attention.
And I took papers and I handed them to Rick. He was going to give them to the bookkeeper, I forget her name.
Lori.
And because she was going to lunch. So he took the envelope and handed it out.
So she put the amount, she wrote levy up here, but it's supposed to be wrote, I mean, there's no indication of what you want for the levy, it's just wrote. And this is the amount of your normal amount that you can make for request, just for your, and that's for levy as well. But you need to write down here, like 25 cents per thousand for road levy, because it's a whole separate. It can't, this is just for your amount that you get. So when you make your request, you have to put that down here, that you want an additional 25 cents per thousand for the road levy. And I can show you.
Yeah. And this is the one that you're talking about, not this one.
Yep.
Correct? Was it on top or was this last year?
No, this is this
Okay.
year's, this was the request that you guys made in 2024, but that was your normal levy, that's not the additional 25 cents road levy.
Yeah.
You have to be specific on that, and so that you know to implement that, and I can show you on another one what they look like. but-
Okay, Brenda, thank you very much. So what we're gonna do, I think, is we will table this to next week. Okay, we'll have Brenda put it back on the agenda for next week for Crownsburg Township. That'll give you some time to get
We got a meeting tonight.
some questions answered, get the minutes to who they need to go to, Brenda, and figure out what happened with the paperwork. You can work with Randy and do some checking on that. And we'll get that on the agenda for next week for Crownsburg, okay? We'll relook at that. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. All right, let's move on
Thanks for coming
to
out.
Rawville. Rawville Township now, they have a request $80,000. They do have an opt-out in place, no resolution, no cost breakdown, and no minutes.
But I do know there are minutes.
Okay,
How to prove that one. Move, Mr. Chair, move to approve.
okay, so we have a motion by Johnson. We
Second.
have a second by Commissioner Gable.
I
Um,
missed that what was stated there, Myron? You do have the minutes?
Well, I was at the meeting. You know, I know minutes were taken. They're always, and it's always done appropriately.
Okay.
So I think I would ask that
I
with,
just don't think it got turned in.
Myron brought a discussion about the Ray funding. It was mentioned, I'm looking to see if they took actual motion, took an action, but I'm not seeing that they took action, but they did implement an opt-out for that reason, which they can still do a resolution like we did last year. They can complete a resolution to make it like,
But if they have the minutes,
yeah, it's not in there. It's just that you mentioned it.
I mean,
Brought discussion on additional Ray funding to qualify for designated, yeah.
they can produce the minutes, so. I'm sure they're.
The issue
she's
is
got them. Those are
These
the,
are the minutes.
those are the minutes. It's not in there
This
that
is
the
the
motion was
minutes.
they
taken.
didn't take action. They just
Approved.
discussed.
So,
I see.
So,
But I mean, it was discussed, so they can do a resolution. We let another township do that last year where they completed a resolution and turned it in.
okay,
So you can say that pending.
okay, pending the resolution. You want to-
Pending the resolution.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve pending the resolution from Rawville Township. This is terrible. Do I have a second?
This whole
Second.
program from day one has been a mess.
Yeah, well,
I seconded before, so that's fine.
okay. Commissioner Gable has seconded that motion. Yep. Do I have any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Waverly Township, moving down. We do have a tax levy in place. Again, no resolution, no cost breakdown, and no minutes. Is there anybody? Okay,
Mr. Chair.
yeah, Commissioner Gable, go ahead.
Yeah, on the cost breakdown, what are the requirements again on that, basically?
Is that the one for Waverly?
Waverly and, yeah,
Waverly Township.
there were two there for Waverly.
You're asking what the cost is?
No, I'm asking what are the requirements on the, if you say there's no cost breakdown, what are the requirements?
What are we looking for as far as the cost breakdown?
Chair. That isn't in the statutes as far as cost breakdown, just a lot of them do, so you have an idea of how
Okay.
they come to those numbers. I do find it in the minutes. A motion was made and seconded that townships apply for the rate funding. So I can get a copy from my file and put in there, so we have minutes.
Okay, so we have minutes. Okay. All right, so looking for a motion to approve that.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Schwer, a second by Commissioner McElhaney. Any discussion?
So this is for both of their projects, correct? Just to
70,
confirm?
yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yep, $77,600. Okay, motion in a second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, I think we made it.
Good, and I
Yeah.
apologize. In the future, we're gonna try and get this a little more streamlined, so it's a lot easier. My
It's
second
really-
week in this position, so
I know when you throw this in front of the township boards, they just throw up their arms and say, what? And they
That's
think
the
they know.
information
This
I
is the
got.
third year in a row, Rawville townships have thought they had everything in here. I know, because I've been at the meetings. They said, we have everything we need.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
that's not the case.
I've never had so much money in my life spending money.
Okay, well,
So I got a question, Mr. Chair.
yes.
Is it
Commissioner
a
Mackey.
possibility in the future to kind of streamline this, that we have like a
Yes.
checklist sheet for
That's
these
exactly what I'm gonna do.
individuals that, I mean, seems pretty simple. It'd probably take care of a lot of the problems.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean for the townships?
For the townships, yeah. So
There was information included in with their township packets last year that was given out to them, everything that they needed to do, so they have received that. Maybe you can come up with something else. I will gladly include it with my township packets if you want to come up with something, and we can try that again.
This is a discussion that we have every year, and it's always the same discussion, and we've taken steps. I know the highway superintendent has met with townships and have gone over, the process and stuff.
Right.
And so,
Well, and
yeah, if we can streamline it, that's
I
good.
do find it entertaining, I must say, with
Yeah.
So let me ask this question now. Will you contact like the Rowville Township supervisor or say that we need a resolution? Who's gonna do that?
Is that easy for you to do or do you prefer I do?
Either one. I don't care. Whatever you decide. If you want me to do it, I'll gladly do it. Otherwise, if you want to take care of that, just let me know.
That should be here for our next meeting. too.
Correct.
Yeah.
That should be here for next week as well.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
just looking out for the boys back home.
No.
But
Yeah,
this is a very, very confusing program. When it was laid out initially, I just sat there and I shook my head and I said, this just is not gonna work.
As far as having you here by next week, we didn't require that before. It's just so they have it in place before we would pay that claim. So I mean, it's something they don't want to put off, obviously, but by next week, I mean, we can give them a few weeks to try to
Well,
get
I
that.
think-
Because it depends on when they have a meeting again, so.
Sometimes it's just easier for them to drop it off at my office as opposed to coming up
Yeah.
here, so.
Yeah. And you're gonna get yours done.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Have a copy of that. Let me give a real levy on it.
Well, okay, so we can't.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't add that anymore this year because the taxes and the levies have already been set. So that will be like, you'll want to do that at your annual meeting when you determine your levy work.
To bring that up next week.
Well, we,
We need a copy of the minutes. Mhm.
okay, yep, so that, but they don't, their levy won't, that isn't something like we can't do the levy now. That won't happen until their March meeting again at their annual meeting and when they do their levy work. I mean, I can't go back and add that anymore now. That's already set.
Do we do that in the ones we did this year? How are we proposing that range, like everybody else?
Well, you'll have to be sure and add a levy to your, when you do your budget stuff on your budget sheet, your levy sheet, you'll have to make sure you specify to get that levy in place. But I guess that's up to the board what they want to do about if they've been previously done, but going forward.
Okay, there's still a lot of questions you have. I understand that. We're going to continue on with the meeting to finish the meeting, and then you can certainly contact the auditor for the information that you need to get to that office. All right. All right. Okay, moving on to item number 20, action to approve the Title IX coordinator. Title six. Title six.
I was
Man,
gonna say nine.
sorry. Roman numerals.
There's
Title
three
six
more,
coordinator. Yeah, right.
You added
Right.
3 more positions to that 6.
Yeah, right. Right.
You guys did designate Natalie previously, and I guess, I don't know, she's willing to continue serving, but that is, it's just, we have to do this and I have to publish it in the paper. It's just part of procedure. So
Do I have a motion to
I
appoint
move to
now?
approve Natalie.
Okay, all right. Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Gable. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Natalie, for
Duties
volunteering.
volunteering.
Number 21, action to assign the Title VI policy statement and authorize publication of the Title VI Notice of Public Rights.
So
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by McElhaney. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, down to 22. This was an item that we talked about last week, but we moved it to this week to give everybody a chance to look it over and discussion, possible action to appoint Commissioner Liaison Board duty assignments.
yes, and I have the updated one in your packets that Lee had just sent me, so I put those in yesterday. So you have the updated liaison board and duty appointments.
Those are posted on the website as well, I believe. If they're not, they should be so that everybody knows where
do
they go,
have a
so.
question on my South Dakota retirement on the very bottom of the page there. It says 4 years up in 2023. I think that's, as far as I know, it follows my I was just reelected here.
Position on the commission.
4-year
I can-
term.
Yeah, I can
So,
correct that. If,
yeah.
what, is there a, so what would be the correct year then? Would be
It'd be
2026? Okay,
This year is 25, 26, 27.
yeah, I just didn't get updated. Okay, I just didn't update it, so. And I need to fix the top, the header where it says, it should say 2025.
Okay. Do we have an action to?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by McElhaney, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gable. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Wow. I lost my second page, Myron. Can I steal your?
You bet. You have it.
It's in my- Yeah, we've done 23 already. Let's move on to 24. And that's just to note that the offices will be closed on January 20th, which is next Monday for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Offices are always closed. They follow the state's, the governor's request that the officers be closed as well. So courthouse will be closed. All right, number 25, delinquent tax list is available for review. Brenda.
The delinquent tax list is available in my office for review if anyone would like to look it over.
Would you like to read it to us?
No?
Oh, okay.
All right, number
Just
26,
checking.
action to approve abatement applications.
No abatements, but we do have claims.
All right, moving on to 27, action to approve claims for payment.
Okay, so you have that in your packet. Everyone's license for their Microsoft 365 and Defender was up, so you'll notice that in everyone's budgets that came out this month. Also, if you take a look at our court-appointed attorney, amount was 81,350.60 already for this month. That is 1 month. Total amount, last page, unless someone has any questions of claims. Just wrote on the wrong one. Sorry. It was, I had state pass through. Got interrupted. 1 second. Anyways, it's 1 million. What's it,
16,000.
yeah, 16,802.58. Darn. I was so organized. Oh, here. So the state pass-through amount is 528,661.72, which if you minus that off, I had that sheet, but I got interrupted when I was coming in. It was 400 and some thousand.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Gable. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner McElhaney. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We also have the 911 fees.
Stand by just a moment.
I'm
Brenda,
sorry.
Commissioner.
One
McElhaney.
quick question, when you talk about the court appointed attorney, is that a line item by itself? Budget?
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay, I found the sheet. The total amount for the county claims is 488,140,066.
Okay, thank you. You had something for?
Yes, and then we have 911. So we received the email. We haven't received the funding. It will be a direct ACH payment, but I would like to get approval when that would come in sometime this week so we can get the money to the city. And that amount is for November in the amount of $37,070.83.
I will excuse myself from this vote, but I will look for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner McElhaney. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, did we
Commissioner
vote on the
Gable?
overall? I forgot, did we vote on the overall claims? I might have missed that. On the other,
Yeah, we did, I believe. Didn't we?
On what?
On the overall claims, we voted for that, didn't we? Okay. Should we back up and do it just to make sure?
You can go ahead and back up.
Okay, let's go ahead and just, we have a second. We have
We had a
Motion and a
motion
second.
To approve.
Okay,
We have that already. It
Wait.
was Gable and McElhaney on the claims.
okay. I thought we voted, but let's do it again just to make sure. So any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we're on to the 911. We have a motion and a second.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries there as well.
No automatic budget supplements.
Okay,
Have one personnel change,
it's 29. Go ahead.
and that is for Sophia. Touailat is her last name. She will be a full-time in the jail. She will start at step 1 at a rate of $25.80 an hour.
Okay.
And effective
Motion to approve.
1/15/25.
All right, motion by Commissioner Gable. Do I have a
Second.
second? Second by Commissioner Schwer. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to travel requests,
No
number
travel
30.
request, no.
No travel requests. Number 31, public notices, a possible quorum of commissioners could be in attendance at. Just for transparency and disclosure, anytime there's a quorum of commissioners in one public place, we have to disclose that. So we do not violate our meetings laws.
So I know there's a PUC meeting Thursday about the CO2 pipeline at the event center, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Center, okay, that's PUC.
Yeah,
Okay. Thursday,
Thursday,
6 PM.
60, yep, 6 PM.
Heritage Theater, probably.
Yeah,
I'm not sure the right room, but
Okay.
okay. Anybody else have anything? No? Okay. Let's move on to item number 32. Anybody have any old business? Old business. 33, new business.
Since I'm here already.
Yeah.
Steve knows
Yeah.
already.
Come on up and identify yourself, please.
Brian talk again, going on to Memorial Park, Codington County Memorial Park. Great camping park, great everything.
Excuse me, just a second. Would this
Yep.
fall under public comments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So we're not there yet, Brian.
Okay.
Okay. So new business to the commissioners. Any new business? Okay. All right. Now we're on to item number 34, which is the open and public comments. So
Okay.
Brian Zog, go ahead, please.
So back onto the Memorial Park campground on the reservations. It has been extremely confusing for everybody. I actually kind of feel bad for Steve and Scott and Gail out there. I witnessed it, they get chewed out a lot, just on how it is, how the new rules or what has been trying to be put into effect. So back in Milo's days there, we'd check in, PMX rebooked us for next year. We all know times changed, whatever, that's fine. Well, then it came down to you needed a group of at least 8 and rent a building to rent a year out. Which we were doing. We actually had a group up to 16 people. And renting the buildings and doing this stuff. Now they've switched it to 95 days. No, it's not. That's
Should be
changed.
open to the whole season on February 1st.
February 1st. Then is there a limit?
Limit of 2 weeks on all the campsites except for 22 of them will be a long-term possibility. So.
Where then 22 gonna be located at?
Those 22 are located straight up from the
From the
house. Yes, from the house. Because there's been a lot of demand for a lot of stuff. I had to set it up as a, yes.
Steve, you want to come up here so we can get you on microphone? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so that's changed since the last time we had heard now.
Let's just have you so media can hear what you're saying here. Okay.
Okay, yes, the campground is now will be opened up for online reservations to be made on February 1st. They can be able to make it any time during the camping season. 2-week maximum stay with anything but there's 22 campsites that will be reserved for potential long-term camping, which would be sites 1 through 22. They'll be able to make those for how many length of time that they want to. those had to be designated as a certain site type in order to turn around and do it, and those fit that site type criteria.
So then what time on February first and stuff like that too?
It will be opened up, it will open up on February first at midnight.
Okay.
So, yes,
And it's 2 weeks stay.
2 week stay, yep,
Okay.
on all the campsites except for the 22 can be how many times if you
No
want
building
one day,
rented,
no,
nothing
no
like that.
building rented and stuff. What happened was is a lot of the buildings that was rented never got used. There's many people that wanted to use buildings, so this would.
And we always
relieve
used
it,
ours,
so,
there's no doubt
yep,
about that.
yeah, but there were several of them that did not, so,
Right. That's gonna make it a lot nicer.
yep.
It's good.
I've been watching, city 2 years ago went to open up for all whole season, and that has, they said it made a significant difference out at City Park.
Pretty
so-
good.
Right. No,
so-
that'll actually work out really good, so.
So that is what I was going to give a whole report. We had approved this here a couple weeks ago, I believe it was, and so that, so, but I was gonna give my report on that next week, so.
Great.
Perfect.
All right.
So,
We're problem solvers.
all right.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. All right, yep.
Thank you, Steve. All right, moving on. Any more public comments? I see none. Let's move on to commission comments. Commissioners, anybody have anything? See none? Any need to go into executive session today? No need for executive session. Motion by Johnson to adjourn, second by McElhaney. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We are adjourned, 10:48 a.m. Oh, yeah, you could turn your phone back on now if you need to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We switch.
Hey, gentlemen.